Welcome back to Right Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this class, I'll be teaching you how to make a squared neckline with puff sleeve for a flared top. This flared top is actually gorgeous. You can use it for anything. You can use it to wear your skirt, your trousers, your shorts as you desire. Okay, I'll be sharing with you the tips and tricks to making squared neckline flared tops to look gorgeous and beautiful, as you can see right here. Okay, I'm really proud of the outcome of this dress, and this is actually trending. So if this is what you want to learn in this class, please stay tuned to the end of this tutorial to learn. Thank you. So to make this flared top, I'm making use of 4 yards of my lace fabric. Okay, so you know how many inches your lace fabric comes, so I just got myself 4 yards to make this lace top. So to achieve this squared neckline, you need to have it drafted on paper. Okay, so that's why you can see my pattern drafting right here. So it's just very simple. I've my pattern is just to the bust point. Okay, I took it to the bust point. This is my chest line and this is my shoulder line. So we are making a flared dress with a squared neckline, so I have to draft it here to get the squared neckline accurately. So you are going to see how we are going to do that. So this is for the front. The neckline for back and front is the same. Okay, and the armhole for the front is deeper. So now I want to create the armhole for the back, which I will go in by 1/2 inch. So I'll just go ahead from this point, I'll connect it to that 1/2 inch, and then I'll now create my armhole for the front. So we are going to cut out our squared neckline for the back first because of this armhole. So if you want to come up a little bit by your back neckline, but from what we have on the thumbnail and on the video of this particular picture, the back neckline and the front neckline is the same. So I want to show you how many inches I went in from my shoulder. So from my shoulder I came down by 6 inches. That is, my neck depth is 6 inches and my neck width is 4.5. so that is what I used for this dress. So if you want it a little more open, you can go by 5 inches by 6 inches, but I think what we have here is okay. So I'll just simply cut this out now. I'm going to cut my 3 yards of fabric, 2 yards for bodice and 1 yard for sleeve. Alright, so now this is how we are going to fold it. This is the selvage part of the lace and this is the part on the length. So you just do this, put it on bias this way. Can you see what I'm doing? You bring this, put it on bias. Can you see how I did it? So once you have put it on bias, you bring it, the folded part, to face you. Can you see? So the folded part is going to face us before we cut. So make sure you arrange everything. So you can see me trying to arrange everything, making sure I have it on bias. Alright, so now you can see how I placed it. Okay, so this is the selvage part and this is the other part that we put together on bias, and this is the folded edge, which is going to serve as center front and center back. So this edge that is folded, okay, you need to keep it straight like we have on the paper. So this is it. So I'm going to place it right there. So if you look at where I placed it, you can see it's out of the fabric. So I'll just keep dropping it, following this center front till I get it into that bias. So I'll go this way. Can you see? So now I think I get what I want, because when I add my 0.5 inch, it falls still into the lace. I don't want this part to get into my fabric, so that is why I brought it down. So if my fabric was to be the same with this salvage is the same, I could have brought it a little higher. So that I'm leaving it at this point now, making sure that here is on a straight course before I cut. So I'll quickly pin it. As you can see, I'll go ahead and pin. So if you look at this, that is the easiest way to go about your flay, instead of marking on fabric and all of that. So this is it. I'm going to cut now, and I'm cutting adding my necessary seam allowances. So if I come to the side, I'm going to add 1 inch for my stitching allowance. Okay, I'm adding 0.5 inch all around. So let me do that. So now I've cut out the neckline, adding 0.5 inch on the neckline, half an inch to sew, and half an inch on the armhole. So I just want to cut out the length of this flay. Okay, so the length of this flay, to take the length, I'll place my tape on the shoulder right here. So I'll place it right away, the normal way you take the length of your flay. So the length of this top, I'm using 27 inches. So it ranges from 24 to 27. Okay, so I just want to take 27 inches because my hip is around 29. So I just want it to be at the upper hip. So I just step off from my hip 1, 2 to have my top. So here I'll place my 27. Okay, I don't know if you are seeing this chalk, but I'll just do my best. So that is the length. So I'll still keep it here, and I'll take another 27. So what I'm doing here is forming the flay effect. Then I'll keep moving it 27 from that point. 27 till I form that flay. Okay, I place it here, so it's here constantly as I'm moving my 27 inches. Okay, so I keep moving that 27 inches, marking out the flay till I get to the end of it from that point. So this is the end of my blouse. So now I'm going to cut out the flay. So from here, I'm going to cut out the 27 inches length of my flay. Can you see? So once I've cut it out, I have the flay effect. So now for this part, I'm going to add 1 inch to the side for seam allowance. So once I add my 1 inch, this is where I have the 1 inch. I'll now do what? Slant it this way. So let me just cut it because my chalk is not able to give me exactly what I want. So I'll just go ahead and do what? And cut it out. Can you see? So this is what the flay looks like. I believe you understand what I just did here. This is center front. This is the flay. Okay, can you see that? This is it, and my seam allowance. So I'm going to trim off this and place it again in this manner and cut. So this is the full view of the flay. I just want to show you what you have for the front flay. So now we are going to cut the back flay. Now we want to cut the back pattern, but what I have here remaining on the 2 yards, because this lace It's a sample lace and it came at about normal 60 inches length. Okay, so it's actually longer than the actual lace length. So what I'm doing now, I still have this part on bias. Can you see? So I still have it on bias. So this pattern, this particular fabric can still be enough for the other part. So instead of wasting your fabric, you can just fold it on bias, the remaining fabric you have. Okay, so I just thought of, you know, doing it that way so we don't waste fabric. So here you can see I have folded it on bias. The remaining part of the 2 yards I splitted into 2. So this is it. I'm going to bring this pattern, this the front piece I've already cut. I'll place it on top of it, then I'm going to cut. So I'll place it on top of it, making sure that the folded part is on the folded part of the bias which I folded. So I'll just arrange it on top of it and cut. Then I'll show you how to achieve that back armhole. The remaining part of my fabric, I place it on bias again, and I place the back pattern on top of it to cut out the front pattern. So you can see me removing the armhole to fit into the front pattern. So now I'm going to pipe this neckline, and I need to take the measurement of what I have. So I'm putting it together since the neckline front and back are the same. So from the seam line, I'll measure. I have 5 inches. I'll measure. I have 8 inches. I'll measure this part. I have another 5 inches. So 5 plus 5 is 10. Plus 8 will give us 18 inches this way. Times 2. Because we have the back. So that is 18 times 2. Which will give us 36. So I'll go ahead and cut out my strip. So I'm still working with the 2 yards of lace fabric that we divided into 2. So this is it. I'm going to cut out my bias strip at 1.5 inch. So to cut out this bias strip, I'm going to lay this on bias too. Can you see? I laid it on bias. So this folded part, I'm going to cut till I get my 36 inches. Okay, can you see how I place it on bias? So I'll take the measurement somewhere from here to make sure I have 36. Yes, I have 36. So you can see it's on bias. So now I'm cutting out 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches is from here to here for my bias strip. So since it's on fold here, I'll just cut it at 0.75. that is 3/4. So once I open it now, I'll be having 1.5. So I've gotten the 3/4. So you can see me cutting the 3/4. So I'm just gauging it, but you can mark it out if you want. Okay, if you are not sure, you can get it straight as I'm getting it right now. So you can see that's my strip. So I'll measure it again till I get to the end of 36. Then I'll use it to sew the neck. Alright people, so you can see this is 0.75. When I open it up, that forms my bias for me at 1.5. So here is my bias strip. So it measures 38. I added 2 inches. Okay, so if I have an excess, it's better than having a shortage. So now we are going to tape this neckline, and the pattern we are going to use for this neckline, I'll show you as it is right there on the thumbnail. Okay, so if you have a video of it, you can check out the short. Okay, I posted a short of the video of this dress we are making. So at each junction of this neckline, because it's a square neckline and we are going to use bias, you can see I've already made a notch at an angle at 0.5. So that's how you are going to make notches to give you the ease to sew. Okay, don't go too much too deep. So at each junction I'll make a diagonal notch. Can you see that? So we'll go over to the machine now. I'll show you how to sew this bias. Alright, so now we want to sew this bias right now to this neckline. So this kind of bias is not like the normal bias we know. Okay, so we are going to sew it using the same pattern of bias but to the front. Okay, so you can see the seam line for the back. So I open up the seam line, bring the right side of the lace. This is the right side. I'll place the right side of the bias to the wrong side and fold half an inch in. So once I've folded half an inch in, I'll drop my presser foot at half an inch. So I'll backstitch from that seam line. So once I get to the 4 corner point where we made our notch, this is what I'm going to do. I will stop at that point and raise my presser foot. So I raise my presser foot and turn it to that to the direction of the horizontal square. I drop my presser foot once again. I'll sew. So once I get to each junction, I'll repeat the same thing. So you can see I've gotten to the junction again. I'll do what? I'll stop, raise my presser foot and turn it to the direction of the upper piece. So once I turn it, I'll drop it again. Then I'm going to sew, continue sewing facing the vertical direction. So I'll keep sewing. Once I get to the seam line, I'll open up my seam line. So that's how I will sew till I get back to where I started. So right now I've come back to where I stopped. You can see my seam is still closed. It's still open. So I'll lay this one on top of the folded one and I'll backstitch at that point. Can you see? So now the next thing we want to do is to turn over to the front part. So I will bring this bias right now. Can you see? This is where I started. I'll fold it in this way. So I'll fold it in this way, fold it another time. Okay, so this is how I'm going to sew it. So when you are folding this, just take your seam line to have a neat finishing. So I'll now start piping it. We call it piping, okay, using our bias. So I'll keep sewing, folding in this way. Can you see? So I'll make sure it's neat. So I'll sew right away to the end. So now I'm sewing and folding in, as you can see. So as I'm piping it now, I'm getting to that squared line or squared part which we notched. So I'll just go ahead and take note of it. Once I get there, I'll raise my presser foot. I'll stop, raise my presser foot and position it to the vertical part. Okay, so that's the little technique to sewing or piping a squared line. It's not like the rounded neckline where you are free to keep sewing round and round. So I'll just keep sewing now till I get to the end. So once I get to the end, I'm going to sew the sides so we can move over to the sleeves. Alright people, so I'm done piping and I've given it a good press. So I just want to turn it to the right side so you see what we have done. Can you see? So this is it on the right side. Can you see? So you can see the squared edge I was talking about. Can you see? So we still got our squared edge, but on this part, because I was in a hurry somehow, okay, I didn't get this edge. So when you are doing this, please ensure you have the right squared edge. Okay, just take it easy, take your time. This is a tutorial, so I'm supposed to have the full squared edge. So the back, I have the squared edge only on this part where I did not get the edge. So if you follow that principle, you get it squared the way it is. So now we want to go over to the sleeve. So it's time for us to cut out the sleeve. So to cut out the sleeve, I'm using my basic long sleeve to cut it, and I'll show you how I'm going to appropriately place this to have that puff effect. So I'm going up from this point by 5 inches. Okay, so that's where I'm going to mark before I cut. So this is the line, although this is not actually showing, but I believe you understood what I did there. So we are going to have a puff effect. So from your basic long sleeve, go up by 5 inches. Then that 5 inches, I'm going to connect it into the armhole right now. So I will go ahead and cut it out. I can't actually mark on this fabric, so because of the way the lace fabric is. So I just go ahead and start adding my seam allowance. Okay, so you can see how I'm adding it. So if you can mark on it, fine and good, but just see what I'm doing. You can see what I'm adding to make that puff effect. So make sure you pin and pin to avoid your pepper from moving or shifting from the position. So I just come in this way, still on this line. You can see how I did that. I'll come back and curve into, I believe you are seeing what I'm doing. Can you see? So I'll now curve back into the armhole. Can you see? So that is what you will be using, this excess here. So I just want to trim it off well. So I cannot actually mark this out before trimming, but if you can, there's no problem. So at this point, I'll just make a notch of my sleeve hair, because when I'll be gathering it now, I'll gather everything I have here to form that puff. So I'll now simply go ahead and add my necessary seam allowances. So I'm adding 1 inch seam allowance right now. So I'll cut it off now and show you the result. I added my seam allowances. So this is what my sleeve looks like right now. This is the back and this is the front. So I just make a little notch to identify my front piece. So when I'm sewing, I'll know this part will be to the front. So I will take off my pattern once again. To the machine now, I'm going to gather from this point to this point, from this point to this point. You can see the puff. Then we'll now sew it into the armhole. So I've gathered my one part of the sleeve. You can see I have my pin at the center front. So I have to gather to this side and I gather to this side to give me that puff effect. So this is what I did. I first had my pin at the center, that is the grain line. So you need to have your pin on the grain line. So I just go ahead and put my pin on the center sleeve. Then I'll start pulling my gather thread to that center line. Can you see? So I'll just take it easy till I get to that point. I'll stop. I'll start again from this other point. So I will just pull it to the extent I think I've gotten to my round armhole. Okay, so you have to pull it to that extent. Can you see? So it gives us that puff. So I will go ahead and sew the sides of the sleeve. I'll put them together now and stitch. Then I'll bring it back to show you how to sew it to the bodice. It's time for us to sew the sleeve now into the bodice. The sleeve is ready. So I've closed up the sides, as you can see, so it's looking more like a sleeve. So now you can see the notch for the front. That means this sleeve will be like this. This is the next notch, so that's how we are going to sew it. So now I'll come in with the front dress. You can see the front dress still, I still have my pin. Okay, remember when we cut it, I told you to use a pin to note the front. The reason is because of this sleeve we want to attach now, so this will help us to sew it. So I've positioned my sleeves for front and front, so this one will be for this, while this will be for this. So to sew this sleeve now, this is the easiest way to sew your sleeve. Just turn your bodice completely to the back, noting the part that will be for each sleeve. So I turn it and I open the sleeve in this manner. I come in with my sleeve, the right side. I'll put it into the armhole. I'll pick the center grain line and match it to where? To the shoulder seam line. So you can see me opening the shoulder seam line. I'll go ahead and secure it with that pin I had there. Okay, so once I've done that, I'll pick the shoulder seam, armhole seam line, and I'll match it with the side of the dress this way. So I'll now go over to the machine now and loosen a little to match up. I'll keep loosening till it matches up. I'll pin round and I'll sew round. So let me do. All right, people, so we are done with this dress and I've attached my sleeves, so you can see my sleeves. So if you want more puff to this sleeve, I will advise you to increase it a little more. We use them 5 inches. You can go as far as 6 or 7 inches, or you can also expand it more. Okay, instead of making it pointy, you can expand it. Okay, so that's how we come to the end of this tutorial. So if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day. Like this video, share to family and friends. Drop your comment on the comment section and your suggestions as well. Thank you once again. See you in the next class. Bye.